with that. So I have two topics for today. One is story, which will be later, and the first one is like a description on how we think of jobs specifically in Spark right now. So what is actually a job hierarchy? Let's say we have a data infrastructure, data platform. There can be 1,000 jobs running daily, and OpenImage can answer, like, give us an answer to a job data set, to like job to data set image, but it doesn't help us to understand some other questions, like why did the job run when it ran, like what scheduled the job, and why did the job run after some other job, right? And we think we can actually answer those questions if we take a look at one specific element of the OpenImage event. So there is a parent on facet, which we can see an example of below. And for the given run, it tells us whether it gives us the UID and job of the parent job. So what is parent job? In our nomenclature, it's a job that scheduled this particular event. So let's look at example. Can we yeah. So in our flow, it's pretty clear what happens, right? You can take a look at their flow DAG and see how the jobs are structured, right? So we have a DAG, we have a tasks, and those tasks can modify different data sets, but they all have a one parent, which is a Airflow DAG. Now, if we take a look at Spark job in the next slide, it's not so easy, right? So this is a Spark job, or rather what people think of as a Spark job. And we can see like some PySpark invocations, right? We can see that we create some objects and we execute some SQL. And for people, this is their job, what they created, what they execute, and what they expect to see. And in the like lower level of Spark integration and what Spark actually thinks of as a job, we can see a few jobs here, right? And every Spark SQL statement can be a job itself. We can have more lazy execution, more bigger. It's not always obvious what happens, but what matters for user is that they execute one job. So in this case, we would have for this one singular job at least 8 OpenImage events, because we create 2 tables and then insert some values into them. But that's not very easy to understand for a user, right? So our idea is that we would have for a given Spark application, which is this Spark job, we would have a single event that is emitted on the start of the job and one emitted at the end of the job. And every Spark action, which is like the execution unit, let's say Spark, would have a parent job. Yeah, and now we can see the more complex example, where we have a Airflow DAG that runs some tasks, and one of the tasks schedules Spark job. And this is actually a really real example. There are multiple operators that schedule Spark jobs. For example, I think there is one for the MR, one for GCP Dataproc, possibly for some Microsoft Azure. I'm not sure. I haven't used that one. So the one DAG to operators, one Spark application to actions. And below, this is very small, I think, but maybe you can see like the actual sequence of an event that we will see from this. So we have a DAG start event, operator start event, and then the operator starts the Spark application, which means again start event. And then we can see Spark action 1 events. There can be more than 2 because we have running events and other events that can happen during execution. Or if it's a streaming job, then for example, we can have also running events. And then the second Spark action, which runs after the first one. And then the complete application event. And then the operator complete event. And then the second operator starts because it depends on the first one and it completes and the whole structure completes. So from the sequence of the events, you can like have a clear view of what happened where in the course of your application. And this way, few examples of what OpenReach consumers can do with this information. First, they can collapse the information that they got from the Spark application. So let's say you want to have a simplified view for the Spark, for the, let's say, UI, where you don't distinguish those Spark actions, but just like top-level view. What data this like application which is dropped in Spark user's mind, what data it reads and what writes, without like distinguishing the internals of it. And yeah, that's I think very useful case. Yeah, another I think is showing the actual higher level execution. So if you don't care about like tasks, if you want to see where different things are scheduled, you can like, for example, have a job level view and see what schedules what across platform systems. Yeah. So that's what I wanted to tell about this Spark application events. And yeah, just to maybe make it clear, the Airflow part was already working like this. Now we added this Spark application event, which actually makes the scheme more similar between those systems. So any questions about this?
Less of a question, but I think this is a really important addition and really great work. I mean, we also specifically, we have a lot of data catalog people here on the call that will particularly care about this, as it really helps visualize dependencies and governance use cases, kind of imagine, oh, which applications access this data set? It's much easier to answer that visually with this representation.
Oh yeah, and I think it also can, one more use case, you always, with this complete event, you always know when your Spark job ended, right? Because you can have a dynamic job that sometimes creates another actions and sometimes not. So with this, you can know that. And I think that was important for someone. I don't remember who. Sorry. So if there are no more questions, I can move to tell the story and the story of integration.
Just one quick question. I'm curious about how well this works in the Databricks environment, because I remember Databricks in particular was a bit different from kind of vanilla Spark. Have you tried it out in that environment?
Great question, and we need to try it more in Databricks.
Okay.
But Databricks is always slightly different with like non-standard lineage, logical downloads. Yes, and that's a very valid question.